Every time I speak to parents who are considering or thinking about home education, I'm shocked at the things that they think are going to stop them home educating when there are millions of us doing it like that already. I'm making this video because every single day I get messages and comments saying, I really want to homeschool, but I'm not sure it's right for me. I'm not sure if I can do it. So by the end of this video, you're going to have a good idea whether or not you are the kind of parent, the kind of person for whom home education could be a good fit. If you didn't know me, my name's Hannah. I have home educated for over 14 years now. My eldest is nearly 15. The last 6 years have been as a single parent. I have done it on a very low income, obviously as a single parent. I've done it with mental health issues, physical health issues. So I have a kind of a good idea of what it's like to be in a situation where you're like, I don't think I can do this. I think it's kind of apt that I'm filming this video with I've just noticed a giant stick from my kids' forest school is just in the car, and I'm filming it because they are at jiu-jitsu class and I have to wait for them for an hour. So let's start. Is home education right for you? Let's go through the reasons, the valid reasons that parents have for home educating. Because one of the questions I get asked is, well, I want to home educate, but I'm not sure if this is a good enough reason. Here are just some of the reasons that are absolutely valid to home educate. Number one, you want to prioritize quality family time. That is absolutely valid. It doesn't mean you're deprioritizing a child's education, but increasingly kids are so oversubscribed to activities. School and homework is taking up a lot of time. Obviously, schools now can dictate when you take family holidays, when you can take sick days, go to funerals, etc. So it's absolutely valid to look at that and go, hang on, I don't think this is how family life should be. By the way, some of these reasons you're going to be like, oh, I don't think that's a good enough reason. School is an opt-in service. You don't have to do it. It feels like you have to do it because so many people do it. Most of the country do it. If you think about their reasons for sending their children to school, often it's just because it's what you do. It's what everyone else does. It's not like they've gone and done a ton of research and really thought into it. It is just what you do. So it's very likely, if you're even watching this video, it's very likely you've already thought way more about your child's education than a lot of parents who send their kids to school. And that is not a diss. It is absolutely normal to do what everyone else does. There's something in you that is obviously saying, I think this could be good. Another reason is if your child has SEN or is neurodivergent. Schools in the UK are absolutely not set up for these children. In fact, I don't think there are schools in the world that are by default set up for neurodivergent or disabled children. If you're concerned that your child is probably not going to get the one-on-one support that they need, you're probably right. And this isn't teachers' fault, and it's not school staff's fault. It is the resourcing that goes into schools that makes it so difficult for them to provide it. But at the same time, that's neither here nor there. Ultimately, your child is probably not going to get the support that they really need. Cultural and religious beliefs are also valid. Now, I used to go to church. I don't anymore, and I'm not religious. But I completely understand that some of the things in school are taught against certain religions and also cultures. For example, the curriculum, the history curriculum is completely whitewashed. So it stands to reason that parents are going to look at that and go, that's not what I want my kids being taught as truth. Of course, we need to provide as home educators a broad and balanced curriculum, and that does mean teaching about different faiths, different cultures. It shouldn't be a bubble where you insulate them and you don't teach them about outside influence or where they don't have outside influence. But I can understand why people of certain religions or certain cultures do not want their children in mainstream school. Another reason that is absolutely valid is the racism in schools. Over 90% of black children say that they hear racism on a daily basis. That's just abhorrent. We know that black children and children from ethnic minority families are more likely to be targeted. Keeping your children safe is an absolutely valid reason to do something or not do something. The reasons might be that your child is dyslexic. Other reasons might be that your child has been bullied. It might be that you feel they don't get enough of the arts or outdoor time or sport. It might be that you just feel like the curriculum is outdated and to a large degree kind of pointless in the new age where AI is going to take most of our jobs. And it's something like 74% of the jobs that our kids are going to be doing haven't even been created yet. So why are we teaching to a curriculum in a world that is for 20 years ago? So all of those are completely valid reasons to home educate. Now, I want to talk about some of the obstacles that people think are going to exclude them from home education. Low income, disability, being a single parent. None of these automatically exclude you from home educating. There are, of course, going to be circumstances where you look at it and you go, I just can't do it. Maybe you are a single parent, you have a neurodivergent children with very high care needs. Maybe you work a full-time job out of the house and you literally have no idea how to change that. Right now, home education is going to be very difficult for you if you don't have childcare, because by the way, you can use childcare when you home educate. There are other circumstances where people say, I'm a single parent and I don't know how I'd work around it. There are many jobs where you can work around home education because you don't have to stick to a school timetable or even one schedule every day. You don't have to do the national curriculum. It can be incredibly flexible. People often say, well, I'm not academic. I didn't do well at school. Okay, so are we going to entrust our child to the same system that you went in for 12 years and you came out feeling stupid? Did it do a service for you? You do not have to be a teacher when you home educate. None of us are sitting with our children teaching like a teacher. You need to be a facilitator, so that is finding resources for them to learn in their own way, at their own pace, and to their own passions and abilities and struggles. Also, if you're not academic, it's extremely likely that you have really good talents in other areas. And these are the talents that aren't usually covered by school. So you are in an absolutely prime position to teach your child and to educate your child about them and to help your child learn them. It might be vocational, it might be caring, it might be artistic, it might be entrepreneurial. All of these things are not really covered adequately in schools, and you have a prime opportunity to expose your child to that. Another obstacle that people think, oh, I couldn't possibly home educate in, is if you're on a low income, and this is absolutely not true. There are no obligatory purchases when it comes to home education. You don't have to buy curriculum, there's nothing you have to sign up for, so it is really just day-to-day parenting costs. Now, if your child is going to do GCSEs, which by the way they don't have to, you can do them at 14 to 16 college and you get them for free. Have a look at 14 to 16 colleges near you, by the way, because they're not absolutely everywhere. If you don't do them there, then you do have to pay for GCSEs privately, but that's really the only definite cost that you're going to come up with in home education. We've never lived in a time where there have been so many free or really cheap resources for home education. These are being added to all the time. You might hear me or other home educators talking about drop-off groups. I didn't do drop-off groups for years, and when I started it, I couldn't afford them, so I swapped. I worked at the groups in order for my children to go, but you don't have to do drop-off groups, so don't feel like, oh, I couldn't afford those, so I couldn't do it. By the way, if you've never thought about working online, I highly recommend looking into it, because for me, that's been the most flexible and scalable way to home educate my children. Now I'm in a completely different position to what I was 5 or 6 years ago, and it's amazing. It's a lot easier. I'm not saying it's easy. I work super hard. It's 100% worth it. And let's face it, all of us are working hard. So you might as well work hard at something that's going to enable you to live the life you want with your kids. If you are looking for a remote job, something that is employed work and like stable hours, then indeed.com, and then you filter by remote positions. That's a really good way to go. Got a ton of information about working for yourself as well online, and I will link that in the description. My main message would be, don't be discouraged. If you're on a low income, I know lots of families that are home educating on a very low income. If you are disabled and or neurodivergent, also please don't be discouraged or think that you absolutely can't home educate. So many home educating parents are neurodivergent. It kind of goes with the territory, because we're the ones whose kids don't really fit into the system, which is why we've pulled them out. So you are in good company. It does mean that there are extra struggles and obstacles to face. At the same time, home education gives you the freedom and flexibility to create a life that works well for your family, so you don't constantly feel frazzled, and so your kids don't constantly feel frazzled. When it comes to childcare, a lot of single parents say to me, I'm a single parent, I work, so I don't know what I do about childcare. You are allowed to use childcare as a home educating parent. That might be family or other home educating friends. You can use childminders. There are different rules about how many hours a childminder can have your child for a week before they sort of become an unofficial school, which is not legal. But a lot of people think you can't use childcare at all and you have to be the one with your child all the time, and that's absolutely not true. So definitely look into it. A lot of parents considering home education say to me, I feel like I'm going to fail my child, and I'm really worried about that. And that is kind of the biggest mental obstacle that I think a lot of parents are facing. This comes from school, ironically. We are taught in school not to trust ourselves as children. We're told what to do every second of the day. And then the most ironic thing is, as I said before, we come out of school thinking we can't possibly bring up our children without school, which sounds a little bit pyramid schemey to me, to be honest. What I would ask you is, why do you think that you are going to fail a child when you are so much more invested in them than any teacher or school staff member would be, even with the best of their intentions? And when you don't have to act like a teacher, we're not saying, oh, every parent is emotionally invested so they can teach their child. I'm not saying that at all, because that's not what home education is. Home education is incredibly flexible, and it looks different for every single child. If you'd like a video on different day-to-day life situations of different home educators or different weeks of what it can look like for different families, do let me know. Because obviously I have a lot of home educating friends, and all of our lives and all of our kids' lives look very different. And our life now looks incredibly different to what it did even 3 years ago, 5 years ago, or when they were little. So let me know. I hope this video has been encouraging to you. If it has, please do follow me. Have a look at my other videos. I've got an absolute ton of information about home education and about respectful parenting as well. I would love to connect with you, so please do leave a comment. Let me know who you are and if you're considering home education or if you're already doing it. I'll leave a bunch of helpful information in the description.